Hello, everyone. Welcome to Financeology 101. Class is now in session. The information provided during this podcast is just that information. You will need to do further research to address your specific situation. Enjoy the session. Welcome everyone to another session of Financeology 101. I'm one of your hosts, Robin Seegers. The other host is my husband, Elroy Seegers,
Hello, hello, hello.
and we will be discussing the Thrift Savings Plan, which is the TSP retirement plan for federal employees and military personnel. And Tina Smith, our financial guru, is having a little technical difficulty, so she'll try to join us in a little bit. But Elroy, if you
Hello,
want
I'm
to go
here.
ahead.
Oh, there she go.
Oh, there she is. Hello,
Hi.
Tina. How are you?
Sorry. Hello, how
That's
are
okay.
you?
Oh, you fine, girl.
Good.
Cause I was about to go deep.
You know what? We can't get too deep. Feds be watching. You can't
look,
get too deep on
look.
this
This is one
topic
of those
now.
times I would have been talking really slow until Tina got on the line. We understood every word Elroy said. Welcome, Tina. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Okay, Miss Tina. The topic is thrift savings plan tonight. So,
Yes, it is.
so tell everybody about it and how does it bless their lives?
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to say hello to everyone. Guys, thank you again, as always, for hosting me. I really appreciate you allowing me to be able to share, some nuggets about the financial topics that we discuss on this platform. So thank you for always being gracious and asking me to come back. I appreciate it so much. If you don't know me, I am Tina Smith, the Financial T. I do own my own consulting firm, which is the Financial T coaching and consulting firm, where we help millennial professionals primarily and professional athletes with their dollars. We want to make sure that these young professionals understand the power that they hold as they're earning income. And for those professional athletes, once the last whistle blows, how do we make sure that the money that you have been earning over time continues to work on your behalf, after you no longer can play for reasons within or even beyond your control. So of course, I'm an author. It's Your Turn, Walking Your Financial Purpose is my book. And I'm just really excited to be able to drop gems and spill sweet tea like always. So
Oh, yeah.
um, to Robin's question concerning what is thrift savings plan and how I can bless everyone, I just need to preface everything that I say concerning thrift savings plan. Number one, I am not an administrator of this particular program, so I won't be speaking about from an administrative standpoint how to operate per se. I also recognize that I am an a retirement investment advisor. I recognize that as well. So based on that, Feds is always watching. So I want to make sure that I am as general as I possibly can be this evening. So I may, not be able to provide specifics, but I do want to provide some general information and hopefully some general tips to be able to help everyone. Everything that I say, and again, this is all because I'm an investment advisor, so I have to make sure that I have all this stuff prefaced. So, guys, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to say all this. But I
Oh,
got to
that's
cover
good.
myself.
Yeah, you
Okay, I
good.
got to
Cover
cover
yourself.
myself.
You good. And the good thing about that is
Okay.
that I'm part of TSP, so this is a topic I'm deeply interested in that I talk about
Yeah.
very often. And believe it or not, Tina, we was talking about that today in our meeting at work. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
definitely did the exact same thing you say. I was like, hey, this is not to preference saying you have to do this here. It's not telling you how to do it. It's just letting you know
Yes,
that what's available. And the new year
absolutely.
starting in the 22, you got one more month. If you want to get the year started off right, think about it. You got a month to think about things. In January, you can kick off your new year, making some changes, doing
Yeah.
your investments and stuff. Just really just sitting down, take some time during the holidays to figure out which way you want to go. Don't make any drastic decisions based on the stock market. If you're getting out in a
Mm-hmm.
year now, there's different strategies you can use. Different things. But by means with not telling you what to do, just like saying, based on my experience, what I'm giving you, and then of course what Tina just said earlier. So it's a topic that I love to discuss because I love to see young people like you do great in your finances, and what your teachings I'm trying to give to the next generations and beyond. Because if I knew what I knew 20 years ago, I know that I would know more.
Yeah. I
Say that
hear
10
people say
times
that all
fast,
the
Elroy.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear people say that all the time, like, where were you,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
needed, this 20 years ago, and
Right.
how far could I be? And that's what I do hear from a lot of federal employees as well. Is just if they had known from the
Right.
beginning of their federal careers, maybe they would have done things differently. Maybe they
Right.
would not have scowled at the fact that,
Right.
dollars are being withheld from their check.
Right.
Maybe they would have been excited about,
Right.
this opportunity. And
Right.
so I do, always let people know, who are looking to start quote unquote investing. The first thing I ask them is, what are you doing with your current 401k plan? What are you doing with your
Mm-hmm.
current
Mm-hmm.
employer benefit? And if they tell me, well, then you're not interested in
Right.
investing if you haven't started there. And I
Right.
always
Amen.
tell clients, you have to
That's free
start with
money.
what you currently have.
Free
You
money.
currently have an opportunity to, put money away for your future in the form of an employee sponsored plan. And I always tell, folks how important it is to start there because it's
Amen.
probably the easiest investment you'll ever make. And what I
Yep.
mean by that is when you participate in the thrift savings plan, and again, if you're not familiar with thrift savings plan, it's don't be scared about it. It is the primary 401k equivalent for those individuals who are in the federal government as actual employees and those individuals who are in the military. Even those who are in guard and reserve
Mm-hmm.
military can participate in the thrift savings plan. And you can participate there by the income that you earned on your, what we used to call, us active duty folks call warrior weekend.
Mm.
So, if you're at a point where you're able to, participate on the weekend duties or even the 2 weeks out the year, some of your income, if you annotate it correctly in the system called MyPay, you're able to contribute your dollars to your thrift savings plan as an extra quote unquote 401k plan aside from the 401k plan that you have from your normal 9 to 5 job. So I just want to make
Right.
sure that everybody understand, kind of who's qualified for this particular plan. I
Right.
also want to say that, some of these things that we're going to talk about tonight may apply to those individuals who have 401ks. So, if you're not a federal employee, don't be scared either. We welcome you because some things you actually could learn on how to, optimize your 401k as well. So anyway, the 401k, or in this case tonight, the thrift savings plan, is probably the easiest investment you're ever going to do. The reason why
Mm-hmm.
I say that is because it's almost, I feel like, dummy proof to where you're able to update your system saying that you want to do a particular percentage. You used to could annotate a particular dollar amount, but I don't think that's available anymore.
It
But
is.
you're able to say,
It
oh,
is.
okay,
Yeah.
good. So
Yeah.
you're able
But
to say,
it's
this
not
is how
wise to do it
much.
that way.
Okay. But you're able to say, this is how much I want to invest per pay period. Please
Mm-hmm.
know the investment that you're talking about is per pay period. And with that being said, it's taken automatically out of your check. You don't have to guess. You don't have to think about
Mm-hmm.
it. You just have to do
Amen.
it. Just update your
Amen.
system. And
Amen.
it is literally automatic. Now,
Yeah.
I do want to warn individuals, if you participate in this plan, I I find that individuals sometimes kind of overdo Their thrift savings plan, and what I mean by that is sometimes they take so much percentage. I've seen and heard of people doing 25+% in their thrift savings plan, which basically means you only have 75% of your income, to live on and stuff. Sometimes, depending upon your situation, that advice may not be for you. Bob at work may can do that because Bob may not have any debt. However, if your credit card debt is significant and you have a high interest car loan or something like that, maybe 25% and like what Bob is doing, maybe that might not be for you. So please be mindful of the percentage that you're putting in because that those dollars will be taken away from your check and input somewhere you can't even touch without penalty for quite a long time. So be mindful of how much you are putting in because you don't want to negate your monthly obligations like rent,
Right. Right.
food, things of that nature. Some of the necessary stuff. So with that being said, you can annotate a particular percentage on how much you want,
Yep.
to input on um, a biweekly basis, and then those dollars are being quote unquote invested for your future. So these are dollars that you're able to use after a particular age, within your retirement. So this is a good plan to be in. You do want to have money set aside so that when you are retirement age, these are dollars that you could pull on that your pension or Social Security may be able to supplement, and then you can have a means to have a decent retirement life.
So Tina, I know like part of the TSP plan, they allow 5% matching, and actually it's actually 4% matching. Then they give you additional 1% of the agency that's automatic contribution per pay period, and like you said, it says 26 pay periods. And the biggest thing that there's been in the news, I don't know if anyone caught this in the news, is that the amount that if you can afford it, has gone up significantly for 2023. It increased by $3,000 last year. If you're over 50, I should say, if you're over 50, with the makeup contributions, you're able to give $30,000, and that's a big dip out of your paycheck every week if you're going to do that. But it also puts you in a different lower tax bracket if you are able to do that. So as Tina was saying, don't get just make sure your priorities are lined up. But if you are able to do it, it's a great investment to start in January to make those contributions. Because one good thing about that, you said it and you tend to forget it, meaning that
Mm-hmm.
once you get used to that paycheck, you can build your income around that, your budgeting around that. I have known some people to
Absolutely.
say, I'm gonna try 7%. They try 7%, and then they try for a few weeks to see if their budget matches, and it does. They do a percent at a time until they figure out that number, especially when they're
Mm-hmm.
just getting to the rim of things. They don't go, I'm gonna go 20%. Whoa, Lord, that's too much money. Let me back it back down. I have seen people
Yeah.
do 1% and 2% increases. When they see that it changes that go into effect, they see whether or not they can make the adjustments. And by the end of the year, they're like, you know what, I can do this next year. So those people who experimented all of this year, they're ready to go into next year. Okay, I got a good plan going forward. I'm at 12%. I'm good to go. Or I'm taking out $250 per paycheck. I'm good to go. So it may take some time to get to that number if you experimented with it. But I always tell people try to do that matching at the minimum because why? That is money they are giving you for free just
So
for
let
just
me
being a part of a system.
Yeah, so let me explain exactly what that means because some people may not understand it. Now, people like you and I, Leroy, we understand what that means. You and I both know that if you don't at least do the match, you're leaving what,
Money on
some
the
of
table.
us money heads called money on the table. And you don't want that. So let me explain exactly what that means. I want to provide this in a very simple example. Let's say that you felt like you could afford $50. I'm going to try to use this as simplistic as I can. Let's say you decided that you can afford $50 per pay
Okay.
period.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm going to equate that $50 to 1% of your check.
Okay.
So you're really excited about the $50 per pay period and the $100 per month. You're just really amped. But that's
Right.
1% of your income. So again, I'm equating $100 a month to 1%. And
Okay.
so you're excited, and the federal government says, hey, you're doing 1%? Sweet. We're going to also give 1%
Correct.
or match your $100. So you're going to put in $100. They're going to put in $100. You got $200. Awesome. You only did half the work, right?
All right.
But now let's say that your 5% equals $500 instead of the one. The government's going to say, oh, well, you've matched, I mean, you've done your five, you know, we're going to give you, you know, almost $500. I don't want to get into specifics, but the key is that the federal government will match you. You have to do, technically, you have to do 6% to get the 5% match. So what happens is they're going to match you dollar for dollar to up to 4%. Okay. You're going to do $400 theoretically. They're going to do $400. Okay. But then if you do 5%, they're going to give you 4.5%. So it's dollar for dollar up to 4% and 50 cents on the dollar for the next two percentages. So that means if you do 5%, they're technically going to give you 4.5. If you do 6%, then you're going to get the full five. So again,
Mm.
dollar for dollar up to 4%, 4.5 for your 5% and 5% for your six. Did I lose you guys? We're
Nope.
good here.
Nope,
Oh, we're good.
that
Okay.
makes
All
sense.
right.
I'm on it.
Mm-hmm.
So so with that being said, you technically have to give your 6%, but I'm trying to explain the money on the table situation. So let's just say that your 5% is $500 and they'll match you, let's say, another 5%. So remember, you started at $100 and they matched your 100. They only go up to that 5 when you go there first. So you have to do your part in order for your employer to obligate to the match. Match means you do it first and then I match you. Not we're going to do it hoping that you match us. That's not how that's going to work. You have to do your part first. So until you get to that $500, they're never going to get to that $500.
Mm.
Mm.
So what I mean by that, and think about this: if you do $100, they do $100. That's your 200. But if you do $500 and then they do $500, that's $1,000. So that is theoretically $800, quote unquote, that you have
Mm.
left on the table only because
Right.
you ain't do your part. You got to do
Right.
your part first. If you do not do
Mm.
your part, and this is in any 401k system or any employer benefits plan that allows you a match, please, please go back and read the areas that specifically talks about matching. Read the fine print where it says, if you do this, then we'll do that.
Right.
I've seen some plans that do um, up to 4%, but you have to do 8. So it's kind of like half, if you will.
Right.
So
Right.
they'll
Mm-hmm.
match you, 50%. You got to do 8, and they'll do 4. I've seen 3 and 6 to where the person has to do 6, and then the company will match 3.
3.
Um, the thrift savings plan specifically is the one that I've seen that has that 0.5% kick up. But for the most part, it's been pretty clean. It's been all the other systems that I've seen. It's been pretty clean to where if you do 8, we'll do 4. If you do 6, we'll do 3. So just read what it means. Don't
Yeah.
just assume
Right.
that, especially for my millennial professionals, every employer sponsored benefit plan is not the same. So if you moved, I talked to some millennials today who moved from the moved from contracting to the federal government recently. They cannot assume that whatever the contractor system had is the same. It is not. You have to learn the new system. Every employer is going to do differently. And please know, every employer does not match. That is not
Mm-hmm.
an matching is not an obligation to the employer. The employer chooses to match. Let me tell you why the employer would even think to give you money. Why would the employer be so generous to give you, the employee, money? Why would they do? They're just so generous. I'm going to burst your bubble right there because that's not true. Though generosity is part of it, but it really is to help them.
Exactly.
So, say if it's the federal government, and Elroy, you're part of the federal government, so I'm going to pick on you.
Okay.
And so, the federal government says, Elroy, you're going to, if you give your 5%, I'm going to match you at 4.5. I'm just going to whatever. And Elroy buys into this, and then I buy into it, and I'm going to write off my 4.5 that I give to Elroy every pay period. And when I
Mhm.
write that off as the federal government, when I file my taxes,
Mhm.
the profit that had been made will go down significantly because I was able to write my contribution to Elroy's plan and Elroy's fund and account. I can write all that off. So it makes me look awesome to match, but really it's helping me lessen my tax burden at the end of the year.
Yep.
So it is a great opportunity for employers to match and write that off. That's a great thing to do, not only for the employees, but employers for yourselves. So
Amen.
matching is an awesome opportunity for that profit to shrink, and then you're not owing so much in taxes. I hope that made sense.
Oh, it makes sense.
And then
Yep.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
now I have a question. And I know someone that when they signed up for their retirement, they did dollar amount instead of
Mm-hmm.
percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Is there what's the benefit, the pros and cons for signing up percentage versus signing up dollar amount?
I know one con.
Okay. Here's a pro. Well, let me start with the pros, Elroy. Let's be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, okay.
We're gonna play nice, Elroy. Let's play
I thought
nice.
we was gonna end it with something nice, but okay.
Let's play nice today.
Okay.
Here's a pro to that is it is budget conscious. So
Mhm.
let's say if you can only afford, I don't know, $50 per pay period. Because if you do by percent, you're going to have to really work, to figure out what that, $25 per pay period means or whatever. So you're going to have to say, okay, is it 2%? Is it 1%? Is it 3%? And you're going to have to kind of get as close as you can
Yep.
to that $25 per pay period, whatever that looks like. And so to Elroy's point, you're going to have to fudge around a little bit and figure out, what percentage is that really. So it's budget conscious when you actually annotate the actual amount per pay period. So from an affordability standpoint, I believe that's a great place to start. That's probably the only pro that I see to that, because when you get a pay raise, short of you going in yourself and making
Amen,
that
sister.
change, it is
Amen.
not going to reflect. So you're going to be in the
Amen.
federal government 30 years and it's been $25 per pay period because you
Exactly.
didn't go in there and get active.
That's
So
the
you're going
con.
to have to be very conscious of
Hmm.
having to go in and say, okay, I have to physically go into the system and make these changes.
Right.
And also, it almost is almost a guaranteed fail
Hmm.
because people are already set it and forget it. And
Hmm.
then they look at their balance and get very discouraged and disappointed. Well, if you didn't go in and actively manage your account, your
Amen.
disappointment is going to automatically come.
Yep.
With those individuals who are not disciplined, the $25 per pay period looks real cute until you're 59 and a half trying to retire and you got, $500 in your 401k plan because you didn't do
Amen.
anything, right?
And not only
So,
that, the other con is that if you're trying to do 5% and you mess up by 0.05% and you don't get that matching, you're not gonna be getting that full matching. You thought, oh, it should have been $25. It should have been $25.35, but you only put twenty five
right,
dollars. So now you short.
that
By that
too.
35
That
cents gonna
too.
cost you thousands of dollars.
That's true too. But to finish the my point real quick about the discipline, we're gonna find ways. We're gonna find reasons to spend our money. So
Amen.
um so if it's $25 per pay period, oh, I can go spend this other $250 that I really can't afford to put in my invest plan, but choose not to. And I'm just gonna go get a brand new, I don't know, car that I can afford, but am negating my future to afford that car. That makes sense. Or to go get the new, I don't know, purse, the new red bottoms, whatever. So the undisciplined will find reasons not to increase that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
Right.
if you have the percentage and you have the annual increases, which normally happens to a federal employee, let's say you do 1%. Let's say all you do is 1%, right? And you make $100,000 a year. Well, you're going to get that 1% this year. But what if your increase is to 103? And if you kept it at 1%, now it's going to be predicated off that $103,000, not that 100,000.
Right.
So regardless of the percent that you set it at, it's going to be predicated off the new income, regardless of the percentage. Yeah, regardless of the percentage,
The amount.
that number will increase regardless.
Right.
So again, budget conscious for the dollar specific setting. Highly non recommend that if possible. Would highly recommend that you do a percentage regardless of the how small the percentage is. Start somewhere, and to Elroy's point, always increase it every year, at least, or to me. And again, this may not be everybody's testimony, but uh, due to the match, whatever the match is, do that. And you
Mm-hmm.
might not can do it immediately, and that's okay. But I would rather you start at one than start at zero.
Amen.
Right. Now, see, the
So, and then
reason
inch
why,
it up every month, every year.
and the reason why I asked that question, because we both, Elra and I both know someone that recently retired and did not do percentage and was mad that they didn't have the money they thought, and they
Mm-hmm.
been a federal employee for forever,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
and their retirement uh, plan was really low, and they couldn't figure out
Mm-hmm.
why
Mm-hmm.
until
Oh, that's
till
it.
Elroy, yeah, yeah. So they was disappointed big time that they didn't have the money they thought they should have, but they did a dollar amount and thought that
Yeah.
they were doing a good job.
Yeah. And the lesson in
Yeah,
that is that you should not wait 20 years to look at your stuff yearly.
Number one.
yeah,
That part. But you would be so surprised on how many people do not look at their accounts
Yep.
until they're inching towards retirement. And I
Yeah.
always tell folks, and I do teach the early, mid, and
Oh,
late
you teach that too?
career.
Oh, wow. Those are
Oh yes,
excellent
sir.
classes. Man,
Yes,
I always
sir.
tell people attend all of them. I said do
Yes,
all three. Do not just
all
if
three,
you in
and
the
do it
beginning,
more
go to
than
beginning.
once.
Go.
And
I
do
would
them
like
more than once,
yep,
because every time you
yep,
do one, it could be somebody different. You can learn and
yep,
glean
yep.
from different teachers, because I
Amen.
know
Yeah.
I taught at a specific agency, and I had a whole lot of feedback on how excellent it was, and that they felt like they got information that their other instructor didn't provide.
Yeah.
And
Those
so
are
I
good
mm,
classes. Yeah.
yeah,
They're good
absolutely,
teams.
and they're free. Hello.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, absolutely. So I do
Mm-hmm.
teach that class, and I'm very proud of the information that we put together. But it is so important, especially at the early career, to
Yep.
really start looking at this almost
Amen.
immediately. So that
Yep.
way you can adjust as needed, do what you got
Mm-hmm.
to do in order to get the results that you need.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say this is not going to come by magic. It is
You're right.
not.
You're
You're
right.
not going to magically have $1 million upon retirement. You're not. This
It's a
has to be
long
an
haul.
active,
mm-hmm.
normal
Mm-hmm.
part of your financial journey.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Right. It does. So, Tina, explain to everybody the difference between a Roth and a traditional IRA account.
Thank you for asking, because I wanted to make sure that I pointed on that. you had said something about money tax free, and I put a pin in that because I wanted to make sure that I explained the differences, about that. Please note that if you are in the thrift savings plan, there is an awesome opportunity for you to be able to contribute to your thrift savings plan in two different pots of money, if you will. One of the pots of money is a pot that a lot of high earning individuals really appreciate, and this is the traditional. So if you ever look at your leaving earning statement and you find that block that says TSP colon whatever percent, there is one that will say TSP Roth and one that'll just say TSP. The TSP by itself is automatically traditional. What that means is that you're putting money into your thrift savings plan in a tax deferred way. So that means you're not paying taxes on that money today. You will, however, pay taxes at a later time, namely at withdrawal. But today, it is an opportunity for you to be able to put money in a way to where you're not paying taxes today. That also means that your taxable income could potentially be less predicated on your income. So when you file taxes, these are dollars that the IRS may be turning a blind eye to, at least for right now.
So, so,
Whereas,
so,
go
Tina, for
ahead. Mm-hmm.
example, if I'm making, let's say, $100,000, and then I put in $20,000 a year, they're only going to be looking at $80,000 of my income, not the whole hundred.
That's normal under normal circumstances. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay,
I'm not a CPA, so I don't want to blanket everybody,
right.
but under
I'm with
normal
you.
circumstances, that's exactly what you can expect. You can
Okay.
expect that that money will quote unquote come right off the top. You're only going to be liable for the 80% that you actually got, basically
Okay.
quote unquote, in your pocket, right? So that is an item that you can consider. So if you also ever wondered why your W 2 says that you earned this, but you really earned more than that, because there's some money that you know the IRS is not seeing, or the W two just seems a little different. Some dollars are being taken off predicated on that traditional money that you invested, but then also it some of those dollars could also be your health care plan, your dental plan. So just be mindful of
FSA,
that,
FSA kind of stuff. Okay.
and all those little goodies, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So, in contrast, you also have the Roth. Now, the Roth um, typically is a great idea for millennial professionals. Uh, Logically, you would think that you don't want to pay taxes now, but if you're new to your career, you don't really have a high tax bracket. It may feel like you have a high tax bracket, but you really don't in relation to maybe some of the higher earners. So this might be a great time for you to put dollars into your system that are not only taxable today, they won't be taxable in growth.
Mm.
So let's say, you put $10,000 in Roth, contributions over time, but it grew to 20,000. Let's say it doubled. So now you're looking at taking out the 20,000. Those Roth dollars are now in a tax-free position because you paid taxes going in. And so now the IRS couldn't care less because they already got their money from you. The growth is now on you. Now, when it comes to filing taxes and income and all that, that's a whole nother story. But theoretically, those dollars can come into you tax free, predicated on the fact that you um, uh, contribute to the Roth. So those are the primary differences between the two. Is when you're
Now,
Double
taxed.
taxation sounds like to me.
so it sounds like it would be great to have a balance of the
Balance.
two,
Yeah.
where you're paying taxes now and then a little taxes later. That way you balance it out on both ends. Is that correct?
Not all the time, not in every
No.
situation. I
Okay.
do recognize when I was in the military, when I was in the military and participated in Thrift Savings Plan myself, I was 100% in Roth
Okay.
at the time. So, but that's when Roth became available. Roth was not available until 2012. So, once that became available, then, but, until it was available, all I could do was traditional. So everybody's tax situation is different. So it's helpful to talk with a certified public accountant, an
Right.
actual CPA, somebody that does this 365 and not just at tax season. Talk with that
Mhm.
person to be proactive about, is the balance right, for your particular
Okay.
financial
Okay.
situation. It might not be for everyone.
Right. Okay. That makes
Hmm.
sense. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
everybody's tax situation is going to be different. Yeah, but
Okay.
me personally, if possible, we try to put as much into the Roth as humanly possible because we knew that, our taxes um, what could potentially be less in retirement, and that's the initial thought process is, oh well, I won't pay as much in taxes in retirement, and initially to think about it, that seems like a pretty decent assumption, but
Mhm.
if you did what you were supposed to do, your tax situation actually could be more in retirement because you kicked butt and took names later.
Right.
So your taxable situation actually may be greater in retirement because you just did that incredibly well.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot of information right there.
Yeah, I mean, going into, this particular program is really again an excellent way to start your investment portfolio. If you have not participated into this particular system, I highly recommend getting educated on that. Of course, I'm always available. You can always reach me at my website, which is thefinancialt.org, which is TheFinancial, the letter T.org. And I'd be happy to, go over some of those things for a fee, but go over some of those things, with you so that you can learn a lot about what's going on within your thrift savings plan. Well, I have a thing that I do at the Pentagon. And the cool thing about that is people can, come up and ask questions. I'm there, I'm available, to the federal employees and the contractors that work there. And, people have, a lot of questions about, thrift savings plan. They understand that there is an organization to help them, navigate um, the administrative parts of the system. But when it
Mm,
comes to the different opportunities, to contribute to and what each of these funds mean
right.
and each objective and, what that could do, for you particularly, people have a lot of questions about that, and that's just not information that can just be kind of blurted out. You have to be very careful on the your particular situation and what may work for you.
Right.
When I was in the military, we called some people barracks lawyers. What happens is people think they get so smart and start talking about stuff that they might not be, not only the resident expert, but what that person may be doing and telling others to do may not actually be the right solution for the person next to you. So I'm gonna pick on Bob
Mm.
again. Bob, may not have any debt, so he's doing, he's being uber risky, and he's doing 20% and whatnot. And that might not be your testimony. You might not can afford to do what Bob's doing, or
Right.
Bob may be significantly older than you. And so his ideas may be very conservative, where, you're half Bob's age. Maybe being conservative might not be the best thing for you because you have double the time that Bob has. And the one thing about investments, any professional will say the greatest asset is not your money, it's time. It's the
Mm.
time that you have left, theoretically, how much longer you're going to live, and that is going to be the key to the investment experience. I always say, if I'm 47, so if somebody 21 years of age started today, to put into their TSP, and I'm starting today at 47, I can put in double the money that 21-year-old is putting. But I'm going to reach 65 first. That's guaranteed. Assuming that, that 21-year-old and I are living at our own respective ages of 65. I'm going to get there way quicker than this 21-year-old. That 21-year-old has 26 years of investment opportunity that I will never get back.
Mm.
So, that person has, 2.5 decades of ups and downs of the stock market that I'll never experience again because I missed that time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that
Yeah.
person always has more time. So I always encourage the young professional, start ASAP. You don't want to be 47 years old and just beginning, your employer sponsored plan. You don't want to be that. You want to be the person, to start as soon as possible. So then that goes that saying of, man, where were you 20 years ago? Because had the person known 20 years ago, to do these things, their financial position in retirement would be so different. And so again, I
Right.
always encourage, my young professionals, get started as soon as possible. It'll just fare you better. Even if you start little, you've got a lot of time that, those who are more than twice your age will never get back. So it's
Mm-hmm.
always important today is the best day to start your savings plan. Absolutely.
Yeah, not only that, the federal government, they have a nice little app called Thrift Savings Plans app that you can download for Google and Android, and you can log in and you can actually can do different things. You can look at, it's a lot of videos. They have information on
Mm-hmm.
all the different L funds. I think there's 10 L
Mm-hmm.
funds, and I think there's 5 TSP funds, if I'm not mistaken. And it
Mm-hmm.
gives you where your money is. You can transfer money. It gives you opportunity. If you want to, you can loan money against your own account, pay yourself
Mm-hmm.
back. So there's a lot of good things with this app that you can find out. Because a lot of people, they like to look at their money, and it's kind of good. You get updates, or you can track it every few months to make sure that things are lined up the way you want to be lined up. I wouldn't say go in and make changes all the time, but a lot of people just like to
Right.
know where their money, how much they've gained and lost virtually because they hadn't drawn anything. So it's sort of a virtual gain and a virtual loss. So they just
That's
like to look,
correct.
they just like looking at things. So I always tell people, you ain't lost anything until you start taking it out. It's just all virtual.
That's
So
right.
just
That's
just
right.
hang on and just ride the wave,
Yep.
the ups and downs of the stock market. You can gain a little bit and you can lose a little bit. You can gain a lot and you can lose a lot. I said, but if you got 10, 15 years ago, just set it and forget it, and just you know
Yeah.
make some changes throughout the courses of your career, and you see the trends and stuff. You do that because I think the 5 cycles they have is G Fund, F, C, S, and I, if I'm not mistaken, for the TSP thing. So it's a good app. It gives you a lot of information. Me and the guy was talking about it the other day on working, and I was saying, hey, I got it on my phone. And I say, download it and look at your stuff. He said, well, I'm always having to wait till I get home. I said, no, put it on your phone. You do it every
Mm-hmm.
month. He said, oh, wow, I did not know that. I'm like, yeah, it's out there, man. And he was like, man, this is good. So a lot of times we just don't know because we don't share information, or we just
That's correct.
are just blind to it. So I always tell people, it's
Mm-hmm.
just information. You make your own decision on how you want to use your money, how you want to apply it, where you want to go. That's on you. But to tell you where to go is just resources that you can use, like your resource. You are an excellent resource. Uh,
Thank
how
you.
you always going into the community and talking to
Mm-hmm.
people. Your book, you're very motivational, and you're giving your time. You know, I think it's about your 10th or 11th podcast with us. I think
Or so. Yeah,
yeah,
we've
Yeah.
been doing
yeah,
it pretty good
yeah,
now.
yeah. You got to do one a month. Now, I'll tell you the truth. So you giving up your time, and that's value added back to the community. So for those who's
Yes.
listening, take time not to just listen to this podcast, but Tina has her own series with us, Gift Generation series with Tina, Tea with Tina. You've gotten many, and I think Robin's actually done a series of just yours with weeks in a row. Am I right, Robin?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just yours, back to back to back to back, because you cover so many things, not just TSP. You cover all kinds of
No,
life cycles and budgeting things, and you're very good at that. So we're privileged just to even have you
thank you.
come in and talk,
Yes.
just to enlighten us and stuff. Because I
Yes.
take everything you say seriously, and I share it. Then say, hey, you know, go talk to Tina. Here's Tina's information. Talk to her. I'm only going to help you out as far as how to budget a dollar amount going in and going out. I can't do no more for you than what she can give you more. She is a level well above me. I'm that life coach financing.
Right, right,
Don't you spend that money, put that money back in that account. Well, you can say, that money you put in your account, let me show you how to invest it. That's the difference between you and me. I'm going to tell you what not to do, accountability, put you on a budget, financial restrictions. When you can be like, now let me show you what to do on the next step of your career advancement into retirement. That's where you come in, my sister.
Absolutely, and I
True.
appreciate that so much. And you guys have been so gracious, in sending your listeners my and coworkers alike my way, and I don't take that for granted. I recognize that encompasses a lot of trust. So thank you so much for trusting me with people
Oh
that you
yeah.
have to look in the face, tomorrow, right?
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
I thank
That's
you
Yeah.
true.
so much.
That's true. That's true. That's very true. I send
And no
my
one has
family.
come back to you saying, "How
Nope.
dare you send me to
Nope.
that lady?"
Nope.
So
Nah.
right.
It's been good.
Don't
All
ever
the
do that
feedback.
again.
Everybody, all the feedback has been good. It's been good.
Mhm.
Hey, if it was bad, you think we'd be on this phone call right now?
Okay, that is correct.
That's truth. That's truth, right? Right. But you've
That is
been good
correct.
to us. You've been good to us, and
Yes.
we want to continue to encourage people to make the right decisions, or to at least
Oh,
start
absolutely.
to make the right
Yes.
decisions. It's never
And
too
that's the
late.
key thing. It is not ever, 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 ever too late.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're above ground, you got another chance.
Hey,
That's
come on
right.
now. Come
That's
on
And
now.
I
right.
always,
Come on.
encourage folks that this is too important to
It
mess
is.
up.
It is.
Your,
Mhm.
we're talking about TSP. It is absolutely too important for you not to, be active in it. It is too important for
Amen.
you to, not to have, what you expected at retirement time. You worked way too hard to,
Mhm.
have a level of disappointment when you leave because you didn't manage it. And that's the one thing about Thrift Savings Plan and any employer sponsored plan. The bottom line is, what did you do?
That's
You
right.
can't blame the TSP administration. You can't blame your job. You can't
Yeah.
blame, who didn't, Bob didn't tell you. Mm-mm. It is up to you to do up to the full match. Bob can't do that for you.
That's
It
right.
is up to you to make sure that you get the appropriate education. What Bob is doing might not be the right thing for you. You could be mad you took Bob's advice, because Bob
Mhm.
was on a whole nother level than you.
Amen.
Bob, was
Come
either
on.
uber risky or uber conservative, and you
Hmm.
thought because you was 20 years old, you thought doing, 100% bonds was the right idea.
Hmm.
No,
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
not. So you ultimately the onus is on you. And what I also tell people is that when they, especially when I teach the early, mid, or late um, uh, career
Classes. Yeah.
within the federal government, I always tell people you have to know how it all works together,
Mm.
because your TSP will work in tangent with your pension, which will
Hey.
also work in tangent somehow with Medicare, with also your Social Security.
Mm.
Um, it all works together. You have to be educated on all facets, because if you think that there is a one piece of the puzzle or the sweet potato pie that don't work with the other, you're going to be very sadly mistaken.
Right.
They are
That's right.
all they are all together in some way, shape, or form. But it's going to be up to you to make sure that
Mm.
you see how all those pieces work together for you. They're not separate; they're together. So you're going to have to, be active. Don't be scared. And I always tell people, get your head out of the sand. That's the only way you're going to make this work. But
Right.
you
Right.
have to do it. No one can do it for you. Mom
Amen,
can't do it
sister.
for you. Bob can't do it for you. Your spouse can't do
Mm-hmm.
it for you.
Yeah.
You have to do it.
That's
Well, thank
right.
you. Well, thank you, sister. Thank you, Tina.
You're
You
welcome.
appreciate you. Another
W-
excellent session today, talking about
uh,
planning and stuff. Go ahead, Robin. I know you say
I
something.
just wanted to say that someone is on and they said they need some help, so I'm asking them what is their question.
Okay, great.
Um, so I'm hoping they'll type their question in, and if not, I will. Okay, I'm here to
Zoom.
listen. You guys for improving my English. Could you advise me on how I can improve my English?
Yeah, actually, they have podcasts on English too. He's laughing. Yeah, they have podcasts
Yeah.
on English too. Well, if you listen to me, your English is gonna be very bad because I speak
You
slow.
know what?
So listen to my wife. Because I talk fast. That's why I'm laughing. I normally talk fast, so I gotta try to slow down a lot of times. So yeah, that's why he's laughing right now. Yeah, but there are podcasts on those kind of things too. Believe it or not, I listen to podcasts on Spanish and in Germany too. So yes,
Yes.
yeah. So it helps me.
And also, there are a lot of programs here in the state that I live in that has ESL classes, even at
Mm-hmm.
night,
Hmm.
to where English as a second language. Highly recommend you connect with your local school system to see if they have any opportunities for night classes and stuff like that. So that would be what I would recommend.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad
Yeah.
that you listened to us tonight. And I hope that our English wasn't horrible and you were able to get something out of what we talked about this evening.
Yes, I'm typing now for them to Google English as second language
Yes,
classes.
Yeah.
ESL is what it's called. Absolutely. And they can get with their local school system about getting an
Uh,
ESL
he
class and they
said
will be
you
able to
have
point
a
them in the
great
better
voice,
direction.
Tina. He said you have a great voice, Tina.
Well, thank you so much. I'm really glad that you were able to listen in tonight, and we hope that you were able to have some takeaways. Even if you're not in the federal system, hopefully these were some tips that you could use this evening. We're really glad that you were able to join us.
I guess I need to
Yes,
change
yes.
my voice then. Change
So
my
Miss
voice.
so Miss Tina, if you want to give everybody your social media information.
Absolutely. So, if you've been with us over the past, I don't know, year or so, you do know that I've been the financial T everywhere. However, someone decided they wanted to hack the
What?
financial T.
Shut up.
Yes, somebody was hating on me really, really hard. So, they decided to hack it. So, I've had to change some things. And so now I am Tina the Money X Sports Chick. That is TINA, the THE, Money X Sports Chick, CHICK. So that is my new Insta, that is my new Facebook, and that is my new Twitter. Again, Tina the Money and Sports Chick. And instead of the and sign or AND, I use X. So this is to really introduce myself as the person who I'm talking money and sports. And again, helping those athletes really be on the come up when it's time for them to start getting their new contracts and things, and how to make sure that their money is elongated even after the last whistle blows. And then again, primarily for my young professionals who are just getting into their careers, or they're early in their career, how to be able to optimize and maximize their income and their benefits, so when they get my age they have way less to worry about, and they got other buckets of money to lean on before the age 59 and a half years, where they can start pulling retirement without penalties. So that is my social media. Again, Tina the Money X Sports Chick. I am everywhere that you are on social media, oh, including LinkedIn. Tina the Money and Sports Chick there too.
Oh, I can't believe somebody tried to steal
Yes.
your stuff that you worked so
Yeah,
hard on. How
I
dare
did. And
they?
so I know. So, Yeah, so when I tried to do a recovery, the recovery email was not even close to anything I've ever used before. And my bank even called and said somebody tried to access my bank account. So, I mean, it got really deep.
Whoa, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Wow. Okay. Sorry to hear that, but I
So
liked it. I
it's
like the new one
okay.
anyway. I like the
I
The
new
do.
new
one.
one, you know what? It's
Fancy.
appropriate and it's time for the change. To be able to reintroduce myself was very
Hmm.
timely. So
Right,
I don't
right.
look at it, as something necessarily bad. I look at it as an opportunity to reinvent, and so that's what I've done.
Well, all
Yeah.
right. Well, for
And it
us,
speaks, wait a minute, and it speaks more to your
okay,
personality too.
it
Oh,
does.
thank you.
It
Yeah, because I
does.
do a lot of
Yeah,
sports analogies and stuff.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
a sports fanatic. I mean, the list just goes on. I used to be an athlete in high school, which was like 30 years ago. But anyway,
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, you're right. I thought
uh,
about that. That math is about right. You're right.
yeah, it's a
Wow,
long time
wonderful. All right.
ago. But
Yeah. Wow.
yeah.
Well, I'm not going to tell you how many years ago I attempted to play sports. Uh,
Like 40. That's 40 years
okay.
ago.
Woo.
Okay. 40. No, you're living off by a couple of years. 40 plus.
All
So
right.
our Facebook stuff is
she
gifted.
she was trying to be nice to you,
Yeah,
Elroy.
she was. She was. She
Yeah,
was.
she's
She
trying to be
was.
nice.
Yeah, yeah. I already ate dinner, so she can be mean. I don't care. I ate. So our information is Facebook. On Facebook is Gifted Gen LLC. Uh, Instagram is gift.gen. You can find us. YouTube, just in the search, type in Gifted Generations, and you can see all the podcasts and YouTube recordings that we have that my wife has posted out there. And then we have our website. It's Gifted Generations with an S dash llc.com. And please don't forget that dash because I don't know where you may end
Ash.
up. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
yes.
And also, Financeology 101 is now on Spotify and Google Podcasts. So we're trying to broaden our horizons these days.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Absolutely.
well, once
Miss
again,
Tina,
Tina, thank
thank
you.
you,
Thank
thank
you.
you
We
so
appreciate
much.
you.
As always. As always, thank
You're
you.
so welcome. And again, thank you guys so much for always being gracious hosts. And I will remind everybody this is the only time that I give for free.
Tina,
Y'all
we
better
got we got
catch
we
that.
got, we got to do a podcast with you and your husband and your son one day, and
Oh,
then and then me and my wife and our son just talk about how we grew up in the finances in our house, just so people can relate to how we done things. So one day next year, one time next
yeah.
year, we got to sit down and put that together. We all just dial in and just have like a kumbaya moment, type thing.
Okay. We would appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, just to reminisce a little bit because I'm in my 50s, and then Tina's she's in her 40s, and the kids are in their 30s and 20s. So different generations learn different things and how we apply things. So it'd be good to hear from a different
Yeah.
perspective. So
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you guys. And I want you guys
Thank
to
you.
have an excellent
Yes,
Christmas because I don't think
yes,
we're
yes,
going to talk
yes.
before then.
no, I don't think
No,
so.
we
No,
won't.
yep,
We'll
yep.
be picking back up in January. So have a safe
All
and
righty.
wonderful holiday and
And
enjoy the
you all.
family. All
And
righty.
you all.
Thanks,
Thanks
Tina.
again, guys.
Thank you.
All
Have a
right,
good
all right,
night.
all right.
All right.
You too.
Bye,
Bye
bye,
bye.
bye.
Well, thank you for tuning in to our podcast, Financeology 101. I hope you enjoyed this session and the information provided will assist you on your financial journey. Until next time, be financially engaged.